This is CBC Here and Now.
And we are live from the Mary Brown Centre in downtown St. John's, where the Newfoundland Rogues are about to play their first ever home playoff game. I'm Mike Moore. I'll have more on that coming up in just a little bit.
Celebrating Pride. We'll tell you about a rally at the Confederation Building that's all about inclusion.
Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Homophobia's got to go!
Coming up on Here and Now.
An update on the flooding situation in Roddickton Bide Arm.
It could be worse. It definitely could be worse, but we're pulling through it.
The bridge is now passable and the water is receding, but they're not in the clear just yet.
Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. Police have arrested 3 people in connection with a case that prompted an Amber Alert yesterday. The 14-year-old girl was found safe at a cabin in central Newfoundland, and as Ryan Cook reports, she was likely bound for New Brunswick.
3 people are in jail today in Grand Falls, Windsor, facing a number of very serious charges. The 14-year-old girl in the middle of this is safe today, but her family says it's been a difficult week, a week that concluded with an Amber Alert and a frantic search yesterday. Now, police tell us they got word yesterday that 72-year-old Willie Crockwell had entered the province through Port aux Basques. They believed he was en route to find the girl and bring her back to his home in New Brunswick. Her family says Crockwell used to live with the girl and her mother, and that he was not a person they trusted to care for her. Now, police say that they learned yesterday afternoon that the girl had met up with a man and a woman from the Bay d'Espoir region, and that Crockwell was going to join them. That's when they launched an Amber Alert. Crockwell was then arrested in Badger last night, and just after 1 a.m. they found the girl in a cabin on Bay d'Espoir Highway with a 69-year-old man named Cyril Boone and a 63-year-old woman named Erin Bast. All 3 are charged with child abduction and conspiracy to abduct a child, and Crockwell is also charged with child luring. Family members in New Brunswick tell us they're feeling relief today, but they're devastated for what she must have gone through. Ryan Cook, CBC News, St. John's.
Now, there are some questions about why it took almost a week for the police to issue an Amber Alert. The girl was first reported missing last weekend, but the Amber Alert was issued yesterday, 6 days later. The RNC explained why they waited.
When you're operating under the information available, we have to validate details, and it was yesterday, June 8th, that it was determined that an abduction had occurred. Prior to that time, there was insufficient information to provide officers anything further than a missing person investigation was ongoing.
Well, police say a 37-year-old man is dead after a crash on the Trans-Canada Highway in western Newfoundland early this morning. RCMP say the collision between 2 transport trucks and a pickup truck happened near Georges Lake between Corner Brook and Stephenville before 5 a.m. Police believe the pickup truck crossed over the center line and collided with the 2 transport trucks. The RCMP says the driver of the pickup truck was not wearing a seatbelt and was thrown from the vehicle. The transport truck drivers are uninjured, but a passenger in one of those trucks was taken to hospital in Corner Brook with serious injuries. Well, hundreds of people gathered at the Confederation Building today to support LGBTQ inclusive education. The rally was a reaction to social media attacks against a St. John's school this week after it held Pride celebrations. It was also provoked by concerns that homophobic and transphobic voices are getting louder in other parts of Canada and the U.S. Here Now's Mark Quinn reports.
What do we do? Unite, fight back!
Once again, we're facing hate.
Serena Payne has been here before, fighting for inclusion, facing down bigotry.
We thought this was a battle that we won 30 years ago when we were up here doing this, when we were marching the streets, when we were fighting the AIDS crisis, when we were fighting for equal marriage.
Now Payne is back, fighting so young people have something she wishes she had had in school, celebrations and support for LGBTQ people.
If I had had that in schools, if I had had the ability to talk to somebody, it would have made a world of difference in my life. I was lucky in that I was a strong kid and I hoped that someday it would get better, but it sure as heck would have helped if somebody had been talking to me.
Amber McNeil is a student at Memorial University. She says the rally is also a reaction to a growing number of social media messages in the U.S. and Canada pushing to silence LGBTQ voices in schools.
Queer inclusion, queer education is absolutely essential to the happiness of queer youth, and I hate to see that being lost because of disinformation and bigotry, and I think it's really important that we show up to support queer education and queer youth and just show, we're here, we're queer, we're not going anywhere.
What do we want? When do we want it?
In the end, this was a pride event. On social media, there were suggestions that people would be here rallying to stop support for LGBTQ inclusion in schools. But if those people were here, they were very quiet. Mark Quinn, CBC News, St. John's.
The long-running rivalry between two heavyweights in this province's road-building industry has taken a scary turn.
And then to operate that backhoe like the way the man did it was just totally ridiculous. Nearly killed one of my flag people, and anything could have happened here yesterday.
The barriers between Farrell's Excavating and municipal construction have come down in dramatic fashion. That story coming up.
Good news for people on the Northern Peninsula. Floodwaters are receding in Roddickton-Bide Arm. The bridge that connects both sides of the town is still intact and open to traffic. Here Now's Colleen Connors has more.
Water levels near this bridge have dropped significantly. Provincial transportation crews removed the asphalt and repaired the bridge to allow one lane of traffic for now. And it looks like it will not need to be replaced.
A lot of relief.
Mayor Ken Reid is so pleased to see the rain stop and the water recede.
It seems like everybody's taking it in stride. It could be worse. It definitely could be worse, but we're pulling through it.
A big difference in just 24 hours, when Roddickton looked like it was underwater, after seeing nearly 130 millimeters of rain since Wednesday. And somehow, the Edisons, who had to evacuate yesterday, did not have any water damage.
Books, they never got a drop. That's amazing.
There is one remaining concern, and that is the water supply. Now, the water comes from the brook, and it is not safe to consume right now. There is a boil water advisory in place. Now, the local grocery store is starting to run out of bottled water, but they should have more in place by Monday. For now, people can go to the fire station on the Bide Arm side of town and fill up bottles there. Earlier this afternoon, the town lifted its state of emergency order.
Because people from like Ingley and Bide Arm, they can get out, and emergency crews can get across again. So it's not really, it's still not good, but it's better.
The next step is cleanup. More than 24 homes had water in their basements, and residential areas like Marine Drive have a lot of water damage. Ditch cleanup and reconstruction will go into the summer months. Colleen Connors, CBC News, Corner Brook.
Yeah, so certainly good news for the Northern Peninsula, reporting showers and even mist earlier today. For the most part, that heavy rain is done, but there are other parts of the province that are set to see some heavy rain as we head through to the evening tonight and into the weekend. But there's that moisture that I was talking about for the Northern Peninsula, so you can't really see a whole lot of it for you. It's really towards southeastern portions of Labrador. But if I zoom out a little bit, an area of low pressure that is going to stick around as we head through to tonight and the weekend is starting to bring some of that heavier rain. Now, the Holyrood radar back online just in time for this, but if you take a look at the precipitation, or at least the amount of moisture that has been in the air over the last couple of days, that has moved off, but lots of moisture expected for the eastern portion of the island. That will continue pretty much into Sunday. So Environment Canada does have a rainfall warning in place. Terra Nova, Bonavista, and Clarenville. I'll tell you all about it when I come back.
Thanks, Ashley. Well, concrete traffic barriers and metal gates tossed around, glass shattered, shocked construction workers scurrying for safety. A bitter feud between two rival construction companies boiled over yesterday, and some of this bizarre incident was captured on camera. Here Now's Terry Roberts explains.
This was the scene yesterday at a high-profile St. John's construction site on the Trans-Canada Highway. An irate Carl Healy using a backhoe to remove a heavy-duty security gate that was placed at the entrance to his business. Nothing delicate about it. The gate smashed the windows of this unoccupied loader as Healy drove by, with stunned workers scrambling to get out of the path of the gate-wielding backhoe. It's the latest in a long-running and heated feud between this man, Billy Farrell, owner of Farrell's Excavating, and Carl Healy, the owner of this company. They're practically neighbors, two of a handful of construction companies that operate out of a quarry area near Cochrane Pond. Both Farrell and Healy are big personalities, competing for big government contracts. They've been at odds lately over access to liquid asphalt, coming nose to nose on many occasions.
Well, we've never ever had a good relationship.
Late last year, Farrell's won a big contract to build a new interchange to open up better access to Danny Williams's Galway development. The work is taking place just outside the front gates to both Farrell's Excavating and Municipal Construction. The contract calls for the creation of a temporary access road to give municipal's trucks access to the TCH. Farrell's removed these traffic barriers yesterday from the existing municipal gate and installed a new gate here, closer to municipal's head office. But when Carl Healy learned about the new gate, he boarded this backhoe and took action.
We just scooped them up, ran out, beat the windows out of my loader with the gate, dumped the gates, as you can see here behind me, off from his rubber tire backhoe, and flaggers stood up here, and it was just people running, and it was just absolutely no need of what went on here yesterday.
Farrell says he had every right to install the gate.
I put a brand new gate back there because we were going to remove this gate, and it's part of the contract, and it's terrible what happened here. It's a very scary situation.
Carl Healy would not do a recorded interview, but says he did not receive the promised 3 days' notice of the gate work, and also says the temporary access road was incomplete and poorly designed. He acknowledged removing the gate, says he'll pay to repair the damaged loader, but offers no apologies for his actions, saying Farrell is being vindictive over the asphalt issue. Billy Farrell says the incident has scared his employees, and he wants health and safety officials to investigate.
I'm here on the machine myself because my workers won't come here and won't go handy to his property, which is absolutely ridiculous.
A police officer was back at the site today. Meanwhile, work on the interchange is continuing, and so is the Healy-Farrell feud.
I don't know what's going to happen when he do show up this time, if he's going to smash up something or beat up something or...
Farrell may have a delicate touch when it comes to smoothing out the landscape, but when it comes to the bad blood between him and his rival, it's sure to be a bumpy road ahead. Terry Roberts, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, now to Labrador. Testimony for the inquiry investigating the treatment of Innu children in care has wrapped up in Sheshatshiu. The commissioners heard emotional testimony recounting systemic failures, abuse of children in care, and intergenerational trauma caused by government policies in the child protection system. The final report is expected in October of 2024.
It's been a very emotional week, and people telling their stories about their experiences, sharing that in the public sessions. It's been a very busy week, and I'm glad that people came to talk.
We're especially happy that each day was filled. Our time was filled with people who wanted to come and tell their stories. So for us, it was a success.
Supporters of Ukraine rallied at Bannerman Park in St. John's last night in response to the attack on the Kakhovka power plant in that country. Organizers talked about the impact of the attack and the mental toll it's taking on Ukrainians living so far away.
Briefly speaking, on Tuesday, Russia's troops bomb blew up the dump in Kakhovska hydroelectric plant. And a lot of water now in the whole part of south and eastern Ukraine. And that's why we are here, because in the media they always say like, it depends who did it, we are not sure, maybe it's Ukrainians. And we want to say to the world, and we ask all Newfoundlanders to do this with us, to say that it's not us, it's Russia who did that. It's a horrible thing. And we are here to tell that Russia must stop lie about that and then takes responsibility for what they're doing.
And also we want to say that the Ukrainians need the support of the world. Need the support with people who can volunteers now in the Kherson and south of Ukraine. We need the information support and understanding what happened and what this situation will be do in the Europe and in the world.
We want people to hear what has happened and what consequences right now here in Ukraine. And we want them, you know, if you not punish such things, they could be more and more like this. So we want the war to stop. I love being here and everything is just awesome, but we are not here. Part of us is always...
Our body in here and half of our heart in here. We really love this city, we really love Canada, we love the people who stay with us. But half of our heart stay with Ukraine, so we nervous about this and we think about this, and it's very hard.
Now to some sports news. It's a special night down at the Mary Brown Centre this evening as the Newfoundland Rogues will host their franchise first playoff game. The team will begin a best-of-3 series against the Albany Patroons. After winning the last 2 series on the road, the team is happy to be back in St. John's and on their home court, which is where the CBC's Mike Moore is right now. So Mike, what's happening there?
Well, the Rogues haven't been around in a little while, but tonight they're squaring up against Albany in the Basketball League's conference final. Yesterday we met up with the team at practice.
We've been playing great the last 3 games. In here to clean up, work on a little stuff on offense and defense, but I feel like the guys were well prepared and we're ready to go.
Feeling confident, just ready to work, ready to get this going, man. It's been a long time. Had a long season, so yeah, we're just trying to get this going right now.
We're good, ready to go. We're anxious. We're just now getting our bags, so just being able to get in the gym since Wednesday, Tuesday, so we're ready to go for sure. No toll. It actually helped just getting ready for the playoffs. We got more of a rhythm than every other team, so I look at it from a positive standpoint.
A lot of people don't know this, but I have yet, out of all 43 games we played, to play with my full roster. I have yet to have my full roster for 1 game this whole season. It takes a toll on you, but the good thing about that on the flip side is it helps us. You know, we've played against some really good NBLC teams that you can tell, the London Lightning, Sudbury, and those guys, and we had some really close games with them, so it puts us in a position to understand how to win those tight games at the end of games.
It's very important and vital, definitely, just so we can show the fans how much we worked all season and to show that their support hasn't gone unnoticed. So it's definitely special. You know, we kind of wanted to come back here and just show the fans that what we've been doing on the road in terms of playoff games, that we do miss this atmosphere, so it's definitely important. We're pretty confident, just like we've been all season. I think really nothing has changed in terms of confidence and game plan, stuff like that. Just going out and playing Rogues basketball, that's all.
Oh, the guys are excited, man. They're excited, especially to be back home. You know, you couldn't ask for anything more. So they're excited. I'm excited. I think the fans, I think the island is excited. I went out to get something to eat yesterday, and it was Coach, hey, Coach, when this game, Coach, I'm coming to the game, Coach. So, you know, the buzz is out, and people are excited, and you know, it makes us happy.
Fans are starting to trickle in for tip-off, which is in about 45 minutes. And a little bit, I'm going to speak to Rogues guard Daniel Fu. And that's coming up in about a half hour.
Well, let me tell you, it's going to be a good weekend to stay inside for a good chunk of the island. If you want some sunshine, Labrador. We'll talk about it when I come back.
Is coming back to St. John's to perform at the Mary Brown Centre.
Yes, they have 2 shows on September 23rd, and tickets go on sale this Tuesday. And guess what? We have a pair of tickets to give away.
Simon's funny face. Can you open your mouth?
Yes, and we're actually also going to be speaking with the Wiggles on Tuesday. So if you would like to win those tickets Ashley mentioned, here's what we'd like you to do. And this is for all the kids out there. We'd like you to send us a video of you asking the Wiggles a question.
Yeah, is there something that you're curious about? Like, do they have any hobbies or a favorite food?
Yeah, or you could even ask them what their favorite color is if you want to be controversial.
Yes, email us your or video to the address on your screen, hereandnow.nl@cbc.ca, and we'll do a draw on Tuesday.
Yeah. You have all weekend. Think about a question and send it in. And yeah. Great. So now we're going to talk about the weekend weather and the place to be. Once again, this has been a trend. Labrador is the place
nice
to be.
one. Yeah, if I had a question to ask the Wiggles, it would be like, do you like rain? Because if you do, St. John's, really Eastern Newfoundland is a great spot to be this weekend. Let's take a look at where we sat today, though. Temperatures, yesterday were much nicer than they are today, but this afternoon, not so much, especially along the northeast coast anyway. 4 degrees in Twillingate, 7 in Bonavista today. We topped out at about 13 degrees in St. John's, 8 in Terra Nova, so it really depends on where you are. For the west coast, temperatures topped out at 17 degrees in Stephenville. And the hot spot today was in Churchill Falls at 18 degrees. Temperatures along coastal areas of Labrador warming up as well today. 10 degrees in Cartwright, but only 4 in Mary's Harbour this afternoon. So what we have going on right now, area of high pressure, that is going to keep things quiet across Labrador this weekend. But our next weather maker just on the doorstep as we speak along the south coast of the Avalon, and we're seeing that onshore flow again, that easterly flow. This is the rooms cam, something we are very used to seeing this week, and that is fog, nothing but fog. But temperatures today, we topped out in 13-degree range, but only 8 at the moment. So temperatures are starting to drop. Those winds generally like east-southeasterlies around 17 kilometers per hour. So temperatures elsewhere across the island today, or right now, still a beautiful evening in Stephenville as far as temperatures are concerned, 17 degrees, and same thing for Lab City. Now you're actually looking at a fairly nice temperature through the weekend, but before we get there, temperatures have to drop tonight down to about 6 degrees in Lab City. Some unsettled conditions from Happy Valley Goose Bay through to southeastern Labrador as you hover around 5 to 7 degrees, and those temperatures across the island will sit somewhere between 3 and 9 with those winds generally out of the northeast. There is a whole lot of rain icons there, and that's because that rain, like I said, just on the doorstep now. We didn't have radar coverage for a good chunk of the day, but it did just come online, which is good. And you'll also notice, if you pay attention to the radar, that it has been expanded. The reach has been expanded anyway, so we can see a little further offshore and further south as well than we have been used to seeing. So that's good. But right now we're seeing that heavy rain on the south coast. If I zoom out a little bit, this area of low pressure also associated with quite a bit of lightning, but that should stay offshore through the night tonight, but there certainly looks like there could be a risk as we head through the day tomorrow. So we'll time this out. Over the next couple of hours, those showers will continue to work their way further north, heavy at times along the south coast. And then by the time we get into the early morning hours, most of eastern Newfoundland will be in that rain, which will be heavy at times. Some showers still moving in for the northern peninsula. And again, either drizzle or fog patches moving further inland. This will continue through most of tomorrow for eastern Newfoundland. So if you have any outdoor plans, you're going to want to bring definitely an umbrella, because winds won't be overly impressive either, but a rain jacket. Is not looking like a lovely afternoon at all. And this rain will continue right into the evening hours on Saturday and really into Sunday. Now, as far as that thunderstorm potential goes, as that system moves in, we'll likely see that risk tomorrow morning and into the afternoon for eastern Newfoundland. But how much rain are we talking about? Enough to spark a rainfall warning for Bonavista, Clarenville, and Terra Nova. But I don't think that will be the only rainfall warning. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Southern Avalon included in that, because we're talking about amounts between 30 and 50, maybe even 50 or 75 millimeters, and that takes us through to Sunday morning. So as far as temperatures are concerned tomorrow, I do think areas for the Northern Avalon should reach the teens, otherwise single digits through central. West coast, you'll see your temperature somewhere between 10 and 12 degrees. That will be the story along the south coast of the island. Northern Peninsula, you're still going to stay in those single digits. Most of southeastern Labrador as well. Otherwise, beautiful Saturday for the rest of the Big Land. We'll talk about the long-range forecast when I come back.
Thanks so much, Ashley. Well, we love our pets, right? Sometimes more than people, which makes losing our furry friends extremely difficult. CBS-based photographer Kayla Fowler is trying to lighten that loss a little with a free final photo shoot. Just take a look.
I have started offering end-of-life pet photography sessions, also known as celebration of life photos. These sessions are for our precious fur babies that are ready to cross the Rainbow Bridge. 3 years ago, my partner and I lost our 17-year-old diabetic cat, and I look back at it, specifically at his birthday, and notice that I hardly have any photos of him, and I wish I had more. I feel like this is one good thing that owners can have right before they lose their best friend. In my opinion, an animal is one of your own constants in your life. It's for me, my dog Riley's, she's been through all of my breakups. She watched me find the love of my life. She was there when I had a baby. She's just always been there, and to me, she's like my oldest child. And I feel like everybody deserves to have memorial photos of their pet.
We're getting close to the tip-off here at the Mary Brown Centre in downtown St. John's, where the Newfoundland Rogues are about to play their first ever home playoff game. Coming up, I'll speak to Rogues guard Daniel Pooh.
Well, it's not long now before the Newfoundland Rogues make a little history on home court. The conference finals are kicking off this evening, and it marks the first time a playoff game has been played by the team in St. John's. Now, Mike Moore is courtside for tonight's game against Albany. So, Mike, how are things shaping up down at the Mary Brown Centre? I think we may be having a little trouble with Mike's
earlier I said this interview would be coming up in about a half hour. I was way off. But anyway, right now I'm joined by Rogues guard Daniel Fu. Daniel, how's everything?
Good. Great to be here.
So, for the people that don't know, you're from Corner Brook. You played with Seahawks at Memorial. What's the journey been like to get to this point?
Definitely has not been a straight path. You know, during my university career, I had to take a couple years off for academics. Came back and just finished my 5th year last year, and was able to get picked up by the Sudbury Five a couple months back, and that led me to being, you know, the opportunity here to pick it up and play for the Rogues.
So we're in a playoff run now. How has your preparation been to get to here? You know, you played some big games. Is this any different, or is it just another night?
I know it's definitely a big game, but we prep the same way. We prepare the same every time. You know, we've been battle tested now, so we've just been going at it in practice, staying ready, and we just take care of our own stuff. We should be all right.
Any family make the trip up?
My family unfortunately couldn't be here. They were just here for about 2 or 3 weeks, so unfortunately they had to go home, but they'll definitely be watching.
So as the local guy on the team, are you the unofficial or the official tour guide?
A tour guide? Yeah, I try and show these guys around the city, you know, show them how beautiful Newfoundland really is, and I think they really appreciate that.
And what's it going to take to win the Game 1 tonight?
Game 1, we just lock in, focus on ourselves, remember what we did in practice, and just execute.
We got a loose ball just behind us there. All right, we'll let you go get warm, and we appreciate the time, and good luck the rest of the way.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Back to you, Carolyn.
We're going to take you back to Confederation Hill, where hundreds of people gathered for a rally today. It was a response to social media attacks against a St. John's school that posted a video of Pride celebrations with students. Here Now's Malone Mullins spoke with some people there about why it's important for schools to support the Pride community.
I'm here today because, once again, we're facing hate. And we thought this was a battle that we won 30 years ago when we were up here doing this, when we were marching the streets, when we were fighting the AIDS crisis, when we were fighting for equal marriage. And now it seems that they no longer wear hats and Klan masks, they just come out and open. So if you can't come out and counter that, you know, you need to be here. You need to be saying, you need to be speaking up. As I said, we thought we went through this. And then I think back to when I was a kid, and if I had had that in schools, if I had had the ability to talk to somebody, it would have made a world of difference in my life. You know, I was lucky in that I was a strong kid, and I hoped that someday it would get better. But it sure as heck would have helped if somebody had been talking to me. Yeah. And, you know, we're here now, and we can have that for our kids, and somehow people think that that's sexualizing them. They don't realize that sexuality is everywhere. It's born and bred in heterosexuality. We always said education was the key, but education is not necessarily the key anymore. It is speaking up, it is fighting back again, because these people, I know they're smaller in numbers than we are, but they're loud, and sometimes you just gotta speak over them.
This is something that's really important to me. I grew up in a pretty rural community. This kind of stuff wasn't talked about a lot. And the way that things are going now, I feel like people are getting more comfortable with being transphobic, homophobic, and we need to condemn it as soon as possible. Mm-hmm.
Tell me what your sign means there.
Protect trans youth. I know personally I have faced a bit of discrimination just for being non-binary. My friends have gone through it, my sister's friends. We need to protect trans youth. We need to keep them safe in our schools. Everyone deserves to feel safe in schools.
When you say discrimination, was that in school that you faced that?
In school, outside of school, online. Yeah.
And is that just sort of people pushing back, telling you that you're not valid?
Pushing back, bullying, just lots of stuff that is not very nice, just based on the fact that they're trans.
Yeah. And there are pride events in schools now, which
It's
a
great
lot.
to hear.
Yeah, a lot of
Perfect
people
to hear.
like that. How did it make you feel when there was an entire Facebook event against that?
Oh, so enraged. I just can't believe just the disrespect and lack of community we have. It's made to divide. It's made to push people apart from each other. We need to unite again.
I think that queer inclusion, queer education is absolutely essential to the happiness of queer youth, and I hate to see that being lost because of disinformation and bigotry, and I think it's really important that we show up to support queer education and queer youth and just show, we're here, we're queer, we're not going anywhere.
And what about yourself?
The same thing. I think inclusive education and teaching kids about these things is really important because it quite literally saves lives. It's been proven to. My life would have been a lot better if I'd been taught about this when I was a kid. I know a lot of my friends' lives would have been a lot better if they were taught about this as a kid. And yeah, it's sad and very angering to see bigots coming out and trying to push their agenda in schools. Well, education is not indoctrination.
See people of all ages from, there are people from the university, people, coming here on their lunch break, showing up just to show support and to drown out the noise of bigotry. I think bigots can make a lot of noise, but I think there's always going to be more people in support of queer education and queer love, and it's gorgeous to see that here today.
Lawyers and managers, whores and hoods and pimps.
Well, the St. John's Morning Show had a special guest this morning, musician Mick Davis. The local rock and roller played some new material for host Chrissy Holmes and Radioland. We'll hear a bit from him after the break.
And it's sorrow all down the line.
A well-known St. John's musician popped into the St. John's Morning Show studio this morning to play a few yet-to-be-released tracks. Mick Davis, frontman for a few local bands, got up early today to play a few new songs for the radio audience. And for those wondering, Davis says he hopes to record the new songs this summer.
World for sale, you get the idea. Here we go. I'm busy. I've managed to stay busy a long time. This is actually my 26th year in business, if you can call it business. I guess since '97, when I moved into St. John's, I've managed to eke along and keep doing what I'm doing, and it's pretty incredible.
To the good old days when everything wasn't for sale. We sharpened our knives on the wedding stone. We cut through the brush till we was bound for home. Oh, the modern ways, how they surely pay. To the good old days when everything wasn't for sale.
I have no regiment at all, you know. I'm a loner. I'm a lone wolf when it comes to. I'm not a good collaborator because I like to write from the spirit. I guess, you know, I want to be inspired in a true way. I don't want it to be contrived. So, you know, you write. The song writes itself in a way.
So you're almost like channeling it or something.
Well, you know, I'd hate to get all that way, but that's what it feels like, because I could want to write a very formulaic type of Beatles tune where I want a chorus and a verse and a chorus, verse, chorus, and a bridge and a verse and chorus. And you know, commercially that would be the great thing to do, the smart thing to do. But if the song doesn't lead me there, then, you know, if it becomes less catchy because of whichever way it's going, that's the way it has to go. The song writes itself, you know.
We climbed the hill, we took it slow. We knew everything that we needed to know. Oh, the modern ways, how they surely pay. To the good old days when everything wasn't for sale.
Right.
Former British Prime Minister Boris Johnson surprised the country today with the news he's quitting politics, at least for now. The shock announcement came after an investigation determined he had misled Parliament with his testimony about parties that broke pandemic gathering rules. Johnson said he hadn't done anything wrong and the investigation was out to get him. The former PM was elected as Britain's leader in 2019, but forced out by his party less than 3 years later. He had been sitting as a member of Parliament until today. Well, the newly elected Premier of Alberta introduced her new cabinet today.
This new cabinet is ready and willing to roll up its sleeves to take clear and decisive action to achieve our promises and commitments to Albertans.
Danielle Smith's 25-member team was sworn in at Government House. Now, many of the ministers are from rural areas in Calgary. The United Conservative Party won a majority of seats in the election on May 29th, but it lost a lot of cabinet experience, either through retirements or election losses. Smith said today her team will defend Alberta from what she calls disastrous federal policies. Pilots with WestJet, Canada's second largest airline, have ratified a new contract. And while the pilots made significant gains, it means one of the country's ultra-low-cost airlines will disappear. WestJet and its pilots averted a strike with an 11th-hour deal last month. Ratification of the 4-year agreement by the pilots was announced today. They're getting significant pay increases, scheduling improvements, and better job security. But as part of the deal, WestJet's discount carrier, Swoop, will be integrated into the company's mainline operations. That process is expected to be complete by the end of October. And Canada's unemployment rate has gone up for the first time in 9 months. It increased slightly to 5.2%. It had been holding steady at 5% since the beginning of the year. Statistics Canada says the economy unexpectedly shed just over 17,000 full-time jobs in May. Analysts had been forecasting about 23,000 new jobs would be created for the month. The drop is seen as a possible sign that the Bank of Canada Canada's efforts to slow the economy and rein in inflation may be starting to work. Earlier this week, the central bank increased its trend-setting overnight rate by 25 basis points to 4.75%. Right now, many market watchers expect to see another increase in July. Well, it's Friday, so time to find out who's celebrating. Happy 59th anniversary to Dora and Eric White of Corner Brook. Congratulations to Jim and Eva Dwyer. They're celebrating 53 years of marriage. Happy 70th anniversary to Stuart and Cinderella Button of Mount Pearl. Wishing Francine and Robert White of Pasadena a happy 59th anniversary. Happy 54th anniversary to Bertha and Harvey Brenton of Grand Bank. Best wishes to Ben and Elsie Hiscock of Champneys West on their 67th anniversary. Happy 56th anniversary to Walter and Lorraine Tobin from Balleen East. Tom and Suze Burke from Long Harbor are marking 66 years of marriage. Love from your 10 children, 24 grandchildren, and 8 great-grandchildren. Anniversary greetings going out to Nell and John Marr of CBS. They've been married for 55 years. Happy 50th anniversary to John and Glenys Pendergast of Bell Island. Congratulations to Vince and Mary Power of Corner Brook on your 62nd anniversary. Joan and Roy White are celebrating their 56th anniversary. Congratulations. Best wishes going out to Kev and Patricia Whittle. It's their 50th anniversary. Happy 53rd anniversary to Lindsay and Gladys Bungie of Grand Bank. Wishing Emily and Lauren Keats of Benton a happy 63rd anniversary. Happy 55th anniversary to Baxter and Donna Cran of Dunmore, Ontario, now living in Kings Point. Happy 55th anniversary also to Joe and Bobby Coons in St. John's. Now to some birthdays. Happy 94th birthday to William Pomeroy in Bishop's Falls. Wishing Gordon Peckford of Gander a happy 90th birthday. Happy 91st birthday to Everett Gregory from Lewisport. Happy 90th birthday to Alfreda Seward of Gooseberry Cove in Bonavista. Wishing Doris Slade from Lush's Bite a very happy 94th birthday, and Donald Kelly is turning 90 on Sunday. He's from Howley and now lives in Corner Brook. Hope you have a wonderful birthday. Another fine crowd. Congratulations once again. Okay, so now the long-term forecast, and that means we look ahead to Sunday. Saturday's not great. Gonna probably do some things indoors on Saturday, but what about Sunday?
It's certainly the first half of Saturday. Now, there is a slight chance we might see a little break in the cloud cover for the northern Avalon if some dry air moves in. It's just a slight chance, but I'm going to hold on to it.
Yep.
But Sunday, the rain will move right back in. So let's take a look at what's going on across the province. So for your Sunday, pretty much carbon copy of Saturday as far as temperatures are concerned, maybe even a little bit less. Across the Avalon, so about 10 degrees in St. John's, 5 or 7 through central. West coast will hover around 11 degrees, and along the south coast between 10 and 16 through the day. Now, the nicest weather will be found all weekend, and that will be for most of the big land. So Happy Valley, Goose Bay, Lab City around 18 to 21 degrees. Coastal areas of Labrador, you are going to hang on to the drizzle, the onshore flow or showers. 5 degrees will be your afternoon high on Sunday. So also some windy conditions on Sunday out there pretty much across the island. We're talking about winds gusting between 60, 70 or even 80 kilometers per hour for most of us. Same thing for southeastern Labrador. Otherwise, winds will be generally light, 20 to as much as 40 kilometers per hour. Now, these winds are generally going to stick around even as we get into Monday. And the reason for that is there's that area of low pressure. It essentially stalls over the weekend and into Monday. And it's going to keep those showers, those onshore winds, all along the northeast coast through the day on Monday. Now, the best weather across the island will be found in the southwest and again up across Labrador, especially as we head through the afternoon hours. Temperatures even climbing more for you, for those of you in Lab City at 23 degrees. Again, single digits in that onshore flow, pretty much along the northeast coast, and then Port Basque will hover around 18 degrees with lots of sunshine through the day on Monday. Now, long range forecast still showing not great. By the time we get into Tuesday, we're talking about temperatures around 12 degrees, 11 on Wednesday. But that rain just won't go away. We may see a few peaks of sun on Tuesday for St. John's and eastern Newfoundland, but for central Newfoundland and western Newfoundland, really Tuesday looking nice. Rain moves back in for Wednesday for central Newfoundland, but the western portion of the island looks beautiful Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, with temperatures even climbing into the 20s by the time we get towards midweek. Wednesday will hover around 19. Now for eastern Labrador, nice long-range forecast here, really. You're talking about 21 degrees on Monday, 19 and 17 to, till we get to the middle of the week. And then for western Labrador, 26 degrees is possible for Tuesday. By Wednesday, some more clouds will move in, and we're looking at that temperature around 23 degrees with some showers. Now, yesterday, I don't know about you, but if you were outside enjoying the evening after all that rain, there was some smoky skies out there, which led to a red sunset. And this shot was pictured or captured, I should say, St. Philip's Beach. I believe little person out there enjoying the calm weather. Some kayak, that's the word I was thinking of. Thank you, Carolyn. Doreen shared this shot with us, and if you have any weather photos, send them to Facebook, Twitter, or email them to nophotos@cbc.ca, although they probably won't be coming from the Avalon this weekend.
Right. Well, you know, that is kind of the silver lining in these relentless clouds that we've been having, is that at least, you know, the rain and at least the wildfires, we don't have to deal with that horrible situation here at the moment. So.
Exactly.
Well, that's it for us on this Friday evening. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good night.